Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely change how you collaborate with Claude Code. We are mastering the ultimate configuration file, Claude.md. If you use Claude Code and feel like you just aren't getting the absolute most out of it, well, you're exactly where you need to be.
So let's talk about an incredibly common frustration. You fire up a brand new session, and boom, you immediately have to start teaching your AI the exact same coding conventions you just taught it yesterday. You're constantly correcting it because, it's guessing your tech stack wrong, or maybe it insists on using spaces when your entire team strictly uses tabs. Sound familiar?
Well, this pain point actually has a formal name. It's called context rot. As your coding sessions run longer and longer, your AI teammate gradually loses its grip on your specific rules. It starts to drift. It makes decisions that completely contradict what you told it at the very beginning of the session.
The creator of Claude Code, Boris Cherny, actually put it best. He said, "We need to stop treating this file like a README for humans. It's not. It's strict, persistent onboarding documentation for your AI." Think about it. You wouldn't hand a massive, complex code base to a human contractor without an onboarding doc, right? So we really need to stop doing that to our AI agents.
Here's our roadmap for orchestrating a truly disciplined AI workforce. We'll cover the blank slate problem, the CLAUDE.md file itself, the three-level architecture, keeping things lean and modular, rules and hooks, and finally, the compound knowledge loop. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The blank slate problem. No context and absolutely no rules.
Every single time you launch a new session without configuration, you're basically handing your project over to an eager worker who has zero context. Without instructions, Claude Code is forced to guess. Sure, it might assume you want standard best practices, but it doesn't know about your weird legacy decisions. It has no idea that you never wanted to touch the database schema or that you use a very specific naming convention for React components. It's starting from a total blank slate.
Section 2. Enter the Claude.md file. This is the AI teammate system prompt where we finally solve that blank slate problem.
This file sits right at the root of your project directory, and it loads before you even type a single message. To structure it the right way, you really want to use the what, why, how framework. First, the what. Give it context. What's the project's purpose? What's the repo structure? Next, the why. Set the principles. Tell it about your architectural decisions, linking rules, and, crucially, the anti-patterns it needs to avoid. Finally, the how. Define the workflows. How do you run tests? How do you trigger a build? By structuring your file exactly this way, your AI arrives fully oriented. It knows what to build, why your rules exist, and exactly how to execute the work.
Section 3. The three-level architecture. Let's see how we completely avoid scope leaks.
Claude Code actually uses three distinct scopes for these files. First is the user level. This lives on your local machine and applies to all your projects, stuff like your personal workflow habits. Second is the project level. This lives right in the repo root, gets shared via Git, and dictates your team-wide standards. And third is the directory level, living in specific subfolders. Now, Claude Code resolves conflicts by prioritizing the most specific scope, so your personal user habits are never going to override the shared team standards at the project level.
And here's a massive detail. Directory-level files load on demand, not at the start of your session. This is a huge advantage for large projects or monorepos, because if your AI is working in the front-end directory, it reads the front-end rules. It won't accidentally learn your back-end Python linting rules unless it actually navigates into that specific back-end folder. It completely solves the problem of instructions leaking into contexts where they just do not belong.
Section 4. Keep it lean and modular. Here's how we manage context limits.
200. Anthropic highly recommends keeping your master Claude.md file under a strict limit of 200 lines. Look, a bloated instruction file just burns right through your token limit before the real work even starts. If you make this file 5,000 words long, Claude Code is literally going to start ignoring things. Keep it lean so the AI reliably pays attention to your instructions without skipping the vital details.
Now, some advanced developers take this to the extreme and shrink it down to just 30 lines. They use the master file strictly as an entry point, kind of like a router. So instead of dumping all their knowledge into one massive file, this 30-line document simply tells the AI where to find specific documentation based on whatever task it's currently working on.
But regardless of the length, your content has to be exact. You've got to replace generic platitudes with strict, actionable boundaries. Saying write clean code is vague. It means nothing to an AI.
But saying, use camel case for variables is incredibly precise. You have to write down specific code-based gotchas, not just general best practices that the large language model already inherently knows. Precise instructions absolutely eliminate hallucinations.
To keep everything perfectly modular, you can use advanced patterns like the @import syntax to pull in existing docs. You can also use a dedicated .claude/rules folder for topic-specific guidelines, maybe for testing or security. You can even create action documents, like a create-modal.md file, giving the AI a strict, step-by-step checklist for things you do all the time. By doing this, the AI pulls in targeted knowledge only when a specific task requires it. It behaves completely selectively.
Section 5. Rules, Hooks, and Skills. This is where we achieve absolute AI control. It's so vital to understand the difference between asking your AI to behave and forcing it to comply. The Claude.md file is advisory. It shapes behavior and sets guidelines. But your settings.json file, that provides hard enforcement. Think of your Markdown file as a polite sign on the door that says, please knock, while the settings.json file is the actual physical lock that blocks tools or enforces sandbox isolation.
You can push this control even further by integrating deterministic hooks. And honestly, this is a total superpower for developers. For example, a pre-tool use hook can automatically route risky operations for your manual approval. A post-tool use hook can auto-format your code after every single file edit. Plus, you can package repeatable workflows into skills that load right on demand. You can basically orchestrate an entire automated CI/CD pipeline directly from your local terminal. It's amazing.
Section 6. The Compound Knowledge Loop. How to make your AI get smarter every single day.
Some developers call this compound engineering. Say the agent makes an error. You correct it right there in your session. But instead of just fixing the code and moving on, Claude's auto memory feature actually writes that correction back into your persistent files. You're building a system where every bug you correct becomes a permanent, automated rule preventing that exact mistake from ever happening again. Your AI literally gets better with every single session.
But what if something goes wrong? Say your AI is just blatantly ignoring your architectural standards. Well, executing the /memory command is your absolute ultimate troubleshooting weapon. Running it instantly shows you exactly which Claude.md and rules files were actually loaded into your current session. If your file isn't on that list, you immediately know you have a configuration issue and not a bad prompt.
I'll leave you with this final challenge. Are you going to keep fighting your AI's amnesia every single morning? Take control of your architecture today. Define your boundaries clearly, separate your rules into lean, modular files, and use hooks to enforce them. Do this, and you'll watch your AI teammate transform from a frustrating intern who constantly needs reminding into a highly disciplined, staff-level collaborator. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.